Now, your Storm Tracker 13 forecast first. Sponsored by George Sink Injury Lawyers.
And the showers and thunderstorms that developed along the coast this morning have pushed inland. We've got some very heavy rain in the Florence area. Severe thunderstorm warning for Chesterfield County, including Pageland and Jefferson right now. That's moving north into North Carolina. And in and around the Florence area toward Hartsville, the storm weakened. That warning, severe thunderstorm warning for Hartsville, is over with right now. But we do have very heavy rain in and around the Florence area, and it keeps developing right over Florence. Some places are going to get several inches of rain out of that downpour. Things will be winding down as the sun sets this evening. Temperatures outside right now 80s. Some spots did hit 90 degrees, so warming up across our part of the Carolinas, and it will stay warm and muggy tonight with a little bit of fog. Rain chances much lower for tomorrow. I'll let you know if it'll stay dry into the weekend coming up.
Coverage you can count on at 5 starts now.
Right now on News 13 at 5, we hear from Grand Strand health professionals about the severity of West Nile virus after 2 cases were confirmed in Myrtle Beach.
Then we'll look at numbers from day 1 of early voting turnout and which county in our area topped the list.
Then a Darlington County deputy who was killed in the line of duty is being honored in a very special way. We'll have a live report from the PD. Thanks for joining us for News 13 at 5. I'm Adriana Lawrence.
And I'm Annette Pegler. Well, new tonight at 5, we're hearing from local medical officials after the South Carolina Department of Public Health declared a West Nile outbreak in our area with 2 cases this week. Officials say those cases show the virus has sustained activity in our region.
News 13's Morgan Baker is live in Myrtle Beach. And Morgan, you spoke with a doctor at Grand Strand Health about how serious this is.
Annette, Adriana, I spoke with Dr. Mark Hanna, who says while West Nile virus can become serious, roughly 80% of people show no symptoms. West Nile is spread to humans when they are bitten by a mosquito who gets the virus from biting an infected bird. Dr. Hanna says for the 20% who do get symptoms from the virus, the most common are fever, headache, and sometimes rash, which are very similar to flu symptoms, but there is a way to tell the difference.
West Nile tends to produce a fairly bad headache compared than your typical flu. And flu symptoms have a respiratory component, whereas West Nile typically does not.
Hanna says the more serious conditions caused by West Nile, such as encephalitis, a disease that inflames the brain, only occur in less than 1% of people who contract West Nile. He says even in these serious cases, the chance of death is relatively low.
In all of the United States, there's only 1,300 people that get the neuroinvasive disease. And of those people that get infected, there's only 130 deaths. And that's across the entire country.
Hanna says people most likely to have the more serious symptoms of West Nile are those over the age of 70, those with immunosuppressed diseases like cancer, and those with heart disease or diabetes. Hanna says if people have any symptoms, they should come to the hospital where they can confirm whether or not it is West Nile through lab testing.
It would require blood work that would be done for PCR testing or immunoglobulin testing. You can get serum or spinal tap confirmation.
Hanna says the best way for people to avoid getting West Nile is to avoid getting bitten by mosquitoes, which means wearing bug spray and avoiding stagnant water. At 6, I'll have more from Hanna on what the typical treatment is for West Nile. Reporting live in Myrtle Beach, Morgan Baker, News 13.
Morgan, thank you. Parents of a former Pawleys Island Christian Academy student have filed a proposed federal class action lawsuit. The complaint was filed earlier this week and named several groups and individuals, including former pastor of the church, Don Williams, former Academy Director Nikki Howard, and the Southern Baptist Convention. The lawsuit says the church and Academy leadership had a duty to protect the children entrusted to their care. It also alleges church and Academy leaders allowed Warren Perry to serve in volunteer, custodial, maintenance, or similar roles that gave him recurring access to children attending the Academy. And this is a second class action lawsuit filed and the 6th lawsuit total against the church. You can read much more about this on our website, WBTW.com.
New at 5, a Robeson County grand jury indicted the stepmother of Sarah Graham. Sarah went missing in 2015 when she was 18 years old and was recently declared legally dead by a judge. Connie Graham was indicted Monday on multiple charges, including first-degree murder. She was arrested in late June on first-degree murder, felony conspiracy, and stealing, altering, or destroying evidence charges in connection with Sarah's death and disappearance. You can read much more about this case online right now at WBTW.com. The mother of a bystander who was hurt in a deadly officer-involved shooting in Myrtle Beach filed a federal lawsuit against the police department and the officer who pulled the trigger. Matthew Flo and Kendra Malloy filed the lawsuit Monday in the U.S. District Court of Florence on behalf of Malloy's minor child. The complaint, which is 6 pages long, alleges that when Brandon O'Rourke, the officer who shot and killed perpetrator Jarius Davis in 2025, opened fire into a crowd, he injured both of the plaintiffs. It adds that he, quote, failed to ensure safety of bystanders before discharging his firearm into a crowded street at close range. News 13 reached out to the Myrtle Beach Police Department, which says it does not comment on pending litigation.
A Darlington County Sheriff's deputy killed last year in the line of duty was honored today in Darlington with a portion of Highway 151 named in his honor.
His family, colleagues, and Darlington delegation were all there for the momentous occasion. News 13's Eric Cooper attended the ceremony and reports from Darlington County.
The family of Deputy Mason was in Darlington today as the community honored him with a portion of Highway 151 being renamed in his honor. Deputy Mason was killed July 1st, 2025 after he and another deputy were ambushed while trying to serve a warrant at a home near Lamar. Suspect Cameron Dennett was killed after he exchanged gunfire with the 2 deputies. Deputy Mason had just completed his field training just 1 week before the ambush. Coroner Todd Hardy did the welcome at today's dedication, and when I asked him about the type of legacy Deputy Mason leaves behind, he became emotional.
You know, July the 1st of last year was the darkest day since I've been coroner for 30 years. Just give me a minute. You know, the wall in Washington is a pretty big deal, man. You know, and Vice President Vance handing you something is a pretty big deal. But there ain't nothing like these people. This is our family. These are our people, and this is our road.
Coming up at 6, hear from the sheriff and the chief deputy and how they say they intend to make sure Deputy Mason's son knows who he was and his bravery for making the ultimate sacrifice. Reporting in Darlington County, Eric Cooper, News 13.
Eric, thank you. After being closed since May, University Boulevard near Coastal Carolina University is open again to traffic. The completion of the $7.4 million project was announced yesterday, which reroutes traffic behind the university's indoor football facility just in time for the fall semester. News 13's Livy Payne will have much more on the completion coming up tonight at 6.
News 13 is your local election headquarters, and numbers from day 1 of early voting turnout have been released. Horry County topped the list of turnout votes with more than 2,500 ballots cast and more than 22,000 across the state of South Carolina. Tomorrow is the last day to cast your ballot for early voting. The polls will be open from 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. And just a reminder, if you are a registered voter and you did not cast your ballot in the June Democratic primary, you are eligible to vote early or on Election Day on August 11th.
A former South Carolina governor and Republican Senate candidate brought 3 pigs to the State House in Columbia today, and it wasn't the first time. Mark Sanford drove to the South Steps in a 2009 Chevy Tahoe with 1 pig latched onto the car and 2 others in the trunk. Well, 22 years ago, when Sanford was governor, he brought the pigs to the State House to protest wasteful pork barrel spending. Well, this time he got the 3 pigs from a farm in Greenville. The former governor says he had 2 reasons for returning with the animals.
Resolve that was shown 22 years ago, a degree of financial scrutiny and detail that was shown 22 years ago, and I think both of those things are needed in D.C., and that's in essence the basis of this candidacy.
Well, Sanford went into details about the affordability crisis, including the expensive cost of having kids.
News 13 on-time traffic, sponsored by Joy Law Firm. Just call Joy.
And traffic not too bad right now on 501 between CCU and Carolina Forest. Just the occasional slowdown at the traffic lights. No problems right now on 544. Drive times along the Grand Strand on 501 from Carolina Forest to CCU. That'll take 7 minutes. 17 in both directions along the Grand Strand. Moving a little bit slower than normal. Florence area looking okay. No problems in town right now. I-95 moving along nicely. Currently on 95 from TV Road to 76. That'll take 12 minutes. Palmetto from 5 Points to Irby Street will take 5 minutes, and 52 from Palmetto to I-95 will take 8 minutes.
Frank, thank you. Today, a Senate committee voted to recommend Dr. Anthony Fauci be held in contempt of Congress for refusing to answer questions when he was called in to testify last week.
Washington correspondent Trevor Shirley has the latest from our nation's capital.
Dr. Fauci wasn't present during today's vote, but he could now potentially face jail time, even though there are several more steps before that could happen.
On this vote, the yeas are 8, the nays are 5, and the motion is agreed to.
This morning, the Senate Homeland Security Committee decided along party lines to recommend contempt of Congress charges for Dr. Anthony Fauci after he refused to answer the committee's questions during a hearing last week on the origins of COVID-19.
We are voting on whether a witness who has received the benefit of a sweeping federal pardon can be ordered by this committee to answer questions and then defy that order without consequence.
In 2025, Dr. Fauci was given a full preemptive pardon by former President Joe Biden during the final hours of his presidency. Last week, Dr. Fauci repeatedly invoked his right against self-incrimination when subpoenaed.
I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions.
Republicans, including committee chairman Senator Rand Paul, say Dr. Fauci can't have it both ways, claim presidential pardon protections, and still refuse to answer their questions.
Seeking the truth is not a witch hunt. Accountability is not vengeance.
Democrats panned the hearing and the contempt vote as a politically motivated farce.
This investigation has been one-sided from the beginning.
Senator Paul says he'll now refer today's vote to the Department of Justice, but Democrats say that skips over a required step, letting the full Senate approve the contempt of Congress vote before it's sent to DOJ.
It does not strengthen congressional oversight. It makes our work to conduct oversight more challenging and less likely to withstand scrutiny.
It's still not clear if there will be a full Senate vote on this recommendation or if Senator Paul will try to send it directly to the DOJ or the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., who happens to be President Donald Trump's close ally, Jeanine Pirro. Reporting in Washington, I'm Trevor Shirley for News Nation.
We saw another round of thunderstorms across the area today. I'll let you know if this wet weather will last into the weekend coming up.